welcome to the start of my MLB the Show franchise here on MLB the Show 25. Obviously, you can tell by the thumbnail what team we're going to be using, and it is going to be the Seattle Mariners. I think the Seattle Mariners are really, really interesting. They're a team that has had some of the most iconic players ever, right? Ichiro Suzuki, Randy Johnson, King Griffey Jr., among many others, have had some really successful teams, and then not really a whole lot else. They've never won a World Series. They, they haven't gotten to the playoffs a whole lot. They've only been in the playoffs 5 times ever. Their all-time record, according to Baseball Reference, is 3,599 wins and 3,950 losses, a 477 win percentage, 5 playoff appearances, 0 pennants, 0 World Series. And they've been around for 48 years, have not been able to really find that success. They have not even won a bunch of playoff series, during that time. It's a team that is built with an incredible pitching staff, but the offense is definitely lacking. As you see here on the left side, they're the 11th best team, 21st in contact, 10th in power. They do have guys like Cal Raleigh. We'll get to the roster, but they got some guys that can hit for power. The hitting in general, though, is not great. Second pitching staff here on the game, I would guess, behind the Dodgers without really going and looking. 21st on defense, 20th in speed, okay? And as we take a look, contracts on, fantasy draft, nope. Yep, we're going to just stick with that. We are, manual on all of this. We will skip and set later. We'll just going to jump straight into the regular season here. And we'll take a look at the roster. Everything starts really, to me, outside of just the totality of the pitching staff and the rotation in particular. To me, it starts here with Julio Rodriguez. He is the franchise player. He is signed throughout the duration, of this franchise, signed for a long time. He is the superstar. ESPN rates him as the best center fielder. Now the Judge is moving to right field, the best center fielder in all of baseball, a 90 overall, A potential, 24 years old. Bats in a pretty good spot, could certainly be better, especially that discipline. The vision could come up a little bit as well. Very durable, really good defensively, really good speed. He's going to be the focal point of this offense and how I try to build it. He's going to hit somewhere in the top 3, probably the entirety of this series. But we'll start here with the pitching staff. George Kirby, Logan Gilbert, Brian Wu, Luis Castillo, and Bryce Miller are our main guys. The main 5-man rotation, the lowest one being Miller at an 82 overall. Just all really solid all the way across the board. Emerson Hancock, former top prospect here, I believe out of Georgia. I think he pitched for the University of Georgia. C potential 25, former first-round pick, should be a solid bullpen piece, I would think, for us. The relief pitching is pretty solid all around. Probably will move Pomeranz up here at some point in time here pretty soon. But Trent Thornton, Gabe Spire, Gregory Santos, just another really good overall group of the bullpen. Very, very solid there. Got Andres Munoz and Matt Brash. Brash, wipeout slider, 98-mile-an-hour fastball. Munoz, 3-pitch guy, but they're really good. He throws hard as well. Bullpen is really solid. When it comes to the offense, Cal Raleigh is the top catcher here. Big-time power bat. Won the 2024 Gold Glove as well. You see that 99 power against lefties. Has hit 30 homers each of the last 2 years. Reached the 100 RBI mark for the first time in his career in 2024 as well. Now, you're not getting a lot of average, but you're getting a guy that strikes out a lot, he walks a lot, he hits for power. Anytime as a catcher you're around that 750 OPS mark, he's really, really solid. Obviously would love for the average to get up a little bit at 28 years old. Probably just is what it is at this point. Maybe we can work on getting that vision and contact up a little bit. but you're getting a guy that can hit 25 plus homers at the catcher spot with really good defense. What more could you really ask for? Mitch Garver will operate as the backup catcher. Harry Ford here is a top 100 prospect unanimously. 22-year-old. I think that he's got a good shot, I think, at being a solid hitter, solid defender, really good athlete for the catcher position, in particular 5'10", 200, 81 speed. I think he's got a chance to be a big league regular at some point in time. Like if we're envisioning this in year 3, I would hope that Ford can be the kind of everyday catcher. Maybe Raleigh at that point is the, hopefully he's still on the team. Let's say 2020, we'll call it 2027. I would hope that, we're in the final year for Raleigh's arbitration. Say we haven't signed him to a long-term contract. Raleigh could be the DH. They split time maybe at DH. Hopefully Ford is hitting enough at that point in time. I'm very interested in seeing his overall development. Very excited for him. Pretty much everybody else is just kind of fodder. I guess let me take a look at their starting pitchers from a potential standpoint. There's not really a lot of great pitching prospects for them, and that seems to show here. Just a couple of just okay guys. So definitely something to pay attention to. Obviously, really great pitching staff, what you have in the majors. A lot of these guys are pretty young outside of Castillo. They should be around for the long haul. But just wanted to kind of mention that, I guess. First base, Luke Raley. Got Rowdy Tellez. Austin Shenton is not great. Wonder if he's out of options, and that's why he is up here. No, he is. He's got options to use. Tyler Locklear debuted in 2024. And was dreadful in the 45 at-bats that he did have, struck out 20 times. Don't really think he's going to be that good for us, but I think he could potentially be a guy that can maybe DH to an extent, manage enough there at first base, and potentially provide 15 to 20 power, but to me, he's more of a bench guy. Luke Raley has his positives. He's a really good hitter against righties. Does provide power from that side. Walks a little bit, but you're getting a lot of strikeouts with him. Tellez is a little bit better, more consistent across lefties and righties, but he's another left-handed hitter there as well. Probably going to end up being the backup first baseman, I would guess, here over Austin Shenton. 63 overall, 27, not really much there. Dylan Moore, if I'm not mistaken, yes, won the 2024 Gold Glove there at second base. Got Jorge Polanco, who I typically like the way his swing and stuff is in this game. And he's got good discipline, kind of got different strengths, got a little bit more power against righties, a little bit more contact against lefties. Did not hit very well last year, but if you get some version of that 2023 of Polanco, I think he's solid. But for Moore, who is going to be our starting second baseman here, he's got a lot of positional versatility. He's not a hitter. That's not really his thing. Did hit 10 home runs, so not terrible with the power, but is not really adding a whole lot there. The 32 stolen bases is really solid, but a 206 career hitter. He's got really good stealing stats, but not excellent speed. Sometimes I find that the stealing on this game is not particularly great. So, but not a lot of upside here at the top. Colt Emerson is their probably top prospect. He's got B potential. He's just a 60 overall at 19. You are looking at several years before he is really that impact player for us there at second base. But I do think he is one of the long-term pieces I'm the most excited about. Third base looks like it's going to be Donovan Solano, at least starting for us here, at least initially at third base. Good arm accuracy, does not have a great arm. Good contact guy, doesn't provide a lot of pop, but should be really good from us from an on-base perspective, and this is a team that really needs all that it can get of that. Hopefully he does not regress too much, but I'll kind of go over what I do from a regression standpoint anyway. J.P. Crawford, starting shortstop, had gotten to a point where he was becoming a really, really solid regular. Like his 2023 season was really good. I mean, an 818 OPS is obviously the career year for him pretty easily, hitting 19 homers. Did not hit at all last year. Now, a guy that hits 202 with a 304 on base percentage, he's a guy that will walk, right? Got excellent plate discipline. but he's got a weird split. He's a better hitter against lefties, which is really awkward. You need something closer to like a 720, 750 OPS really for him. So I think he provides good enough defense, good arm accuracy, not going to get a lot of errors from that standpoint. He's a guy that can walk, so if he gets up to a 230, 240, especially if he gets up to that 260 average again, I think he's a guy that can play well for us. We have him for 2 more years. He'll be probably the starting shortstop during that time. Cole Young, another high caliber prospect here for us to look forward to in the minors. 21, 64 overall, got that B potential. Again, not really sure what the number is. I don't want to go back and look at it. Good speed. The bat still needs some work, though, for sure. He looks like he is going to be kind of a Crawford player with that contact and, against lefties and power against lefties being better than it is against righties. Definitely have to get that developed. Probably not a guy that's going to ever hit for much power, but hopefully it's at least solid. Michael Arroyo is another prospect here, 20 years old, 62 overall, definitely got some development, but already got a really solid base for fielding and speed. Just what part of his offense really develops for him. Felton Celestine is a guy that, like Keith Law, is sky high on, thinks he is as high potential a prospect, it seemed like, at least when I was reading him on The Athletic, of about anybody. But obviously he hasn't played a lot here at the professional level. 19 years old, only has C potential here. Decent fielding stats. The bat is just not anywhere close. Hopefully, maybe a little time there at single A can get him moved up to double A. Hopefully get him some work there and maybe he becomes something. But between these 3 guys here at shortstop and Colt Emerson here at second base, hopefully we can kind of get this infield figured out in the long term. Hopefully a couple of these guys end up becoming something. Let's move to the outfield. They traded for Randy Arozarena last year. Still got good pop against lefties. He's okay in the outfield. The athleticism is certainly starting to slip here as he hits his age 30 season. Bat is still in a solid spot. It's not great, still in a solid spot. Good discipline. He was not good last year. Did hit 20 homers. He put up another 2020 season, his 4th straight, but only hit 219. Now he had a 332 on base percentage, which is what I care about more. Need a little bit more out of his slugging, but that's kind of like the bottom of the barrel of what I would want out of a Arozarena there in left field. Hopefully we can get him back going. There's not a whole lot here behind him. Dominic Canzone is a backup outfielder. That's pretty much all he is as a 27-year-old with 65 overall C potential. Obviously, we talked about Julio. He is a star. I am hoping that we can get him back up to this 854 OPS. He has dropped 120 points since his rookie year. I think we'll get him back, though. I think that the bat is going to end up being in a good enough spot where I think we can make this work. And a guy that's got that 30-30 potential, he's already done it. He is obviously the franchise. Not, again, a whole lot behind him. This is a farm system that definitely still needs a little work. Victor Robles was a phenomenon for Seattle last year. Had a really good season for them, 814 OPS in 91 games. After not really proving that he could do much of anything, was solid in 2023 for Washington in a short, stretch, but in 91 games, 4 homers, 34 stolen bases, and 814 OPS. If that's the version that we're getting of Robles, who is at 74, 27 with B potential, still has some room to grow. The attributes don't necessarily line up with making me feel comfortable that he's going to be great, but the stealing is going to be good. If he gets on base, I think he'll be really solid. Let's see, got Mitch Haniger here is not great. Lazaro Montez, I believe is how you pronounce that, is the top outfield prospect that we have here in the system. 20 years old, 64 overall. He, though, looks like his long-term real-life perspective anyway is a guy that may end up just being like a DH or a first baseman. But the defensive stats are not terrible here, but he's a guy that I think has the potential to be a good offensive player for us here in a couple of years if we can continue to get good development with that. So that's kind of the look overall at the roster. If we go over here, do they have the top prospects? Let's see who we maybe have here. I think they do top 50. Cole Young is number 24. Emerson number 27. Let's see. Anybody else make the top 50? No. Got Harry Ford here at number 53. That's probably going to be close to it, I would guess, at least as far as the top 100 here goes. Unless I miss somebody, that is it. If we go to ours, it's Young, Emerson, Arroyo. So I did miss Arroyo on there then. Harry Ford, Montez is our top 5. I would say that's pretty much the consensus top 5 outside of Keith Law really being excited about Celestine. But yeah, so it drops off pretty quickly from a prospect perspective, and you're going to be waiting, a couple of years even still on these guys that we have. And I don't think they have an impact player strictly based on what we have here. Like, I think Emerson is a better prospect than this, and he's kind of been a consensus, looks like top 20 to 25 guy. But obviously, you kind of do have the MLB the Show effect where they'll have these guys really super low rated, and you hope that they develop. So that, I guess, kind of is what it is. So one thing that I do want to talk about here is how I like to handle regression when it comes to this game. There's always been, and even progression as well, but to me, regression is the biggest thing. As you get to, let's see, who is, let me just try to pick a player. Mike Trout, since he was 27, 28 years old on this game, would immediately start regressing when he was a 99 overall. He would not maintain that rating for whatever reason, even if he's having a great season. Now him at 33, he's probably going to regress even more than he has in the past. You get a guy like Chris Sale at 35. I don't like the way that MLB The Show does regression. So what I have started doing here over the past couple of years is I'll go through every team at the end of every month and see where these 33-plus-year-old players, where their regression is starting to hit. Because Chris Sale is a guy that probably at 34 probably largely holds his rating, but once you kind of hit that 35, 36, you are going to start tanking a lot of the times in your ratings here on MLB The Show. Like Justin Verlander, for instance. Let's say that Verlander here in the series is having a great, let's say he's got a 3.2 ERA, just like he did in 2023. At the midway point, he's going to go from a 79 overall to a 70 overall. Like, to me, it's just too quick. So typically what I like to do is go through at the end of every month. I'll take a look at these teams by age, kind of see how players are playing, and negate the regression to an extent. And I just don't like the way it gets handled where guys are all of a sudden 35, 36, and they're playing well. And I guess that's a relative term, but they're playing well and they're just dropping like crazy in overall. I've never been a big fan of that. That is typically the way that I handle MLB The Show. If you guys really have a major issue with that, we'll just let the game kind of do its thing. And I also think that it wouldn't be a bad idea to almost run like a randomizer where a certain, a random spin of the wheel picks a team, and I take one of their top prospects and kind of like boost them up, over an off season so that they can progress and be ready to play at an earlier stage. Because, even these guys that I'm excited about, like a Cole Emerson, at 60 overall, 19 years old, it may be 4 years before he is, at that 75 to 77 mark where you really start feeling comfortable with him making that jump. And baseball takes a while to do this, but, he's a guy that I think in real life is probably closer to being a 2026 player, maybe 2027 before he gets a call up and is ready to play as long as he keeps progressing. But yeah, not something that I typically go crazy with, but the regression is something that I definitely like to look at a lot because I like to look at it as the fact that, let's use Marcus Semien as an example. Let's say all of a sudden his stats, his attributes start to tank, but he's having a pretty similar season to like he did in 2024 or 2023. In real life, on MLB The Show 26, his ratings are not going to he's not going to drop from an 88 to a 78 if he puts up this exact same stat line, plays at the exact same level of defense that kind of thing. He's not going to tank from year to year on MLB the Show, the actual game in the base roster, the way that he would in on this video game. So it's something to keep in mind. And if that's something that doesn't interest y'all, then we'll just let the game just do what it does, and we'll go from there. Another reason why I wanted to choose the Seattle Mariners, because they play in the AL West. I think that the chance to play Mike Trout, to play the Astros as they're in a state of transition, the Texas Rangers as they, coming off of a bad season after winning the World Series. The Oakland Athletics, to me, seem like a team that's kind of getting ready to take the next step here pretty soon and be a pretty solid squad. I think the West is completely wide open. I would say the Astros are still the favorite. I think the Rangers would probably be the second favorite if they stay relatively healthy. And then I think the Mariners kind of slide in there as the third team. The Angels are obviously to me, the team that's got the least likely chance at winning, at doing a whole lot. Like if I had to say one of these teams is going to lose 100 games, I would say probably going to be the Angels. But yeah, that's pretty much the basis of why I chose Seattle. I like the fact that I get a chance to try to build the offense, try to keep the pitching staff together without there being a ton of top prospects to bring up immediately. And I guess the last thing I'll do, we'll go over, I am going to be playing this with timing interface, just clicking the button. And for pitching, it's going to be classic. Let the ratings decide. I'm going to start off on All-Star. I kind of played Hall of Fame mostly last year, and the past couple of years we'll start off with All-Star, typically where I like to start though, and then we go from there. If I start to hit too well or pitch too dominantly, so on and so forth. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We can take a look at maybe where, so you got, if we take a look at the depth chart, I guess this is a good way to look at it as well. So you got Dylan Moore, Polanco on 1 year. This is a contract year for these guys. Moore shows up on pretty much every position. He's a very versatile player. Something I definitely need to keep in mind. For him, we're in a really good spot in center field, top center field in the game, second best pitching staff in the game. We have Raleigh here, gives us the fourth best catcher. Bullpen is fifth here as well. So really, really good pitching staff overall. Things can pretty drastically change though. 2026, you'll have a Rosarena, Crawford, and Robles. That'll be the end of their contracts, along with Mitch Garver there as your backup at catcher. As we then move over to 2027, it's Gilbert, it's Castillo, who knows where he's at in his development at that point, heading into his age 34 season. Hopefully he is maintaining and doing what he can. Hopefully we get a little bit of a bounce back from him. He was not quite as elite last year as he was in real life. I'm expecting he'll be good, and that'll be a big year for Cal Raleigh there as well. But as you see, we're at 2027. It looks like Cole Young at this point may be up to a 72. But Emerson's still at a 68. Arroyo at a 70. Montez here at a 71. So they're still just not great players really at that point in time. Kind of have to go all the way here to 29 before you really feel good about some of these guys really taking that next step. But you see this rotation is set through 2027. Something to definitely be excited about. But, really wanting to build up this offense, and that's going to be free agency. It's going to be trying to draft those guys. And then it's going to be trying to backfill this pitching staff as it starts to get a little older. And you start to lose some of these guys here over the years. But this is a team that I think is in a really good spot at making a run here in year one, and baseball being something that's a long season. I'm going to definitely have to figure out how I want to do these episodes and that kind of thing. But, yeah, I'm very excited to get things going. The next episode will be opening day. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I guess I can finish off with, if you don't know me, I do YouTube for fun. I started it when College Football 25 came out. I've got a couple of series on that game. I do an Atlanta Hawks franchise on NBA 2K25. Baseball was my first love. And I'm very, very excited to get this going. I'm a Braves fan, so I didn't want to jump to the Braves. I wanted to use somebody in the American League, and I really like the Mariners jerseys, the lack of playoff success, and I think that we can build them into a contender. But Yeah, this will be up on Friday. Opening day will be up on Sunday. Very excited to get things going. This is going to slide in, hopefully, most of the time on a Sunday to Wednesday release schedule for the game. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. And yeah, if you enjoy the content, like, subscribe. And until next time, peace.